Welcome to Spiritual Cartel's Big Book Main Share. This week, I am pleased to introduce Pat T, who has kindly agreed to come and share for us. Pat, over to you.
Hey, everybody. Nice to be here on a Wednesday evening over there in Europe. It's middle of the day over here in California. I already love you guys. I love your format. I love what you guys are doing. That introduction, it was scary good. I mean, that was on your format. I've been praying about this meeting for a while now. And you guys have, I want to tell you, all of you, you guys have a meeting that everybody knows about worldwide. It's a big deal. What you guys are doing over there. I hear about the people and the lives being changed. I mean, it's incredible what I hear about you guys. So thank you again, Andy. Thank you so much for the honor. I'm gonna jump real fast into a quick qualification. Then I'm going to get on to the main thing tonight, which I want to talk about, which is we have a spiritual malady that's going to kill me. And it's not taking prisoners. It's not interested in a truce. It's out to outright destroy my life in every way, shape, and form. Okay? So when I got in here, I started drinking. I'm an alcoholic, and I definitely have a desire not to use Coke. I think it would not be a good scene for Pat. Okay, so I qualify for you guys. I started drinking when I'm 14, and by the time I'm 20, by the time I'm 17, I have my first intervention on me, and it didn't take. And my last intervention on me took in when I was 42 years old, and God struck me sober in July the 9th, 2002, and it was not my day of choosing, it was God's day of choosing, and I'm forever grateful, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And it's an interesting thing before we get started. When I got in here and God released me from a prison that I didn't even know I was in, I wasn't looking for God. I didn't want God. I was against God. I was anti-God, and I was absolutely hopeless. So I want to see if we could all identify a little bit with the big book. And I'm just going to bounce around a little bit. And sorry if I'm going to jump into the big book for a little bit. Page 6, paragraph. The remorse and horror and hopelessness of the next morning are unforgettable. The courage to do battle was not there. My mind raced uncontrollably, and there was a terrible sense of impending calamity. Can anybody relate to that? Thumbs up if you can. Right? See if you can relate to this one on page 8. Wow. No words can tell Pat, can describe what Pat was feeling, the loneliness and the despair. I found myself in a bitter morass of self-pity. Quicksand stretched out all around me in all directions. Folks, I had met my match. Whether it be Coke or alcohol, doesn't matter, meth, doesn't matter. I had been overwhelmed. Alcohol, drugs, whatever, it was my master. That's page 8. I want to jump over to page 11 because Bill's starting to warm up. Bill's starting to understand. Bill's starting to understand what he's up against. Page 11. And he's pushing back against Ebby in this section of the book. And he's saying, I am not down at all, Ebby, with your whole vision of God. Do not give me your God stuff. I don't want to hear about your God stuff. Let me tell you what my reality is, Ebby. You think your reality is, Ebby, that is God? Let me tell you what my reality is in my life. This is Bill talking. Middle of the second paragraph. He's talking about his World War I experiences, and he says, judging from what I had seen over in Europe and since, in other words, he's not seeing a whole lot of God stuff going on. He says the power of God in human affairs, that's negligible, Ebby. It doesn't even exist. In fact, Ebby, here's what I think. The brotherhood of man, that's a grim jest. No one's out for helping each other. That's not even happening. It's a dog-eat-dog fight. If there was a devil, capital D for devil, he seemed to be the boss universal. And then Bill says an eerie thing. He certainly had me. How true it was. Then he goes on. This is towards the very end of the book, just so you think that I'm not totally losing my mind. If you turn over to page 151 in the Vision for You, the second paragraph, I want to read it. I want to set the stage for this spiritual malady, what we're up against. And then we're going to talk about it when the way out, how it gets dismantled. See, God is not content to leave us in prison for the rest of our lives. God's not content to let us suffer in this selfish, self-centered, destructive force that's upon us. God's in a rescue. This whole book of Alcoholics Anonymous is a rescue plan from God to you and me. It is a love story from God to you and me. It truly is. Second paragraph, page 151. The less people tolerated me, just put ourselves in this, the more I withdrew from society and from life itself. Can you guys relate? Yeah? As I became subject, listen to words, of king cocaine, king alcohol, king meth, whatever it is, I am a shivering denizen. That's a fancy word. I'm going to come back to it. Of his mad realm, a chilling vapor that is loneliness settled down on me. It thickened. It ever grows blacker. It becomes becoming blacker. Some of us sought out sordid places, hoping to find understanding, companionship, and approval, which, by the way, we all need understanding. We all need companionship. We all need approval. But there's only one that won't bounce us. There's only one that will never renege on it. There's only one that's not going to turn his back, and that's God. Momentarily we did, then would come oblivion and the awful awakening to the face of the hideous four horsemen. See if I could relate to this. Did I experience terror? Bewilderment. I'm confused beyond belief. Frustration. How does this keep happening? Despair. There's no use even hoping. It's never going to change. This is the way it's always going to be. Unhappy drinkers, users, they read this, they identify with Pat. We identify with each other. That's what we're up against. You know, Bill chooses the word shivering denizens, and you know what that means? It means there's a person that is an alien, that doesn't belong, that is given residence in a foreign country. You and I do not belong in the spiritual malady, in this realm of death, this realm of destruction, this realm of despair. I don't belong there, but I can't get out. I feel like I'm in a prison and there's no gate that I could open up. Oh, I could shake and rattle the gate, but I can't seem to find the keys to get out. I can't find it. It's quicksand in all directions, like Bill talks about. All right? So I'm painting a picture of the spiritual malady. Now let's go on to the other side of this thing. Look at page 14 for just a second. I promise this won't be just flipping through the book the whole time. I promise. Sort of. I think so. But here we go. Page 14. You ready? On page 14, Bill identifies the way out. And he makes no bones about it. He says, hey, guys, listen up. There is a solution. There's a way out of this thing. You're not going to have to live in the addiction for the rest of your life. You're not going to have to live in the insanity inside your head for the rest of your life. You're not going to have to live in the insanity of the obsession to use or to drink for the rest of your life. We're going to design and show you a program that God has shown us that literally has freed us from our addiction, freed us from our alcoholism for the rest of our lives. It's no longer the issue. Now hang on to that. Page 14, top paragraph. Bill's describing this solution. He says, it's simple. These steps, they're simple, but it's not easy. A price has to be paid. It meant the destruction of self-centeredness. Pat, you must turn in all things going forward in your life to the Father of light. You're walking around in the dark. You're bumping into everything. You don't even know which way's up. You got to turn to the Father of light. And by the way, in a great way, not a bad way, in a great way, hey, Pat, he presides, he rules, he cares, he counsels, he guides, he directs over all of us. What a setup. What a setup for this solution. And then it says, I want to bounce over to page 62. On page 62, it says, Pat, what you're up against, you have no earthly way of defeating. Dr. Young told us this. Dr. Silkworth told us this. The first 100 alcoholics told us this. They said, Pat, what you're up against, you can't beat. You can't even defeat it. You don't even know where it's coming from. It is so vicious and so vile, it's underneath your consciousness. You don't even know what you're up against. It's unconscious. Selfishness, self-centeredness, first full paragraph, page 62. That, we think, is the root of Pat's troubles. I am driven because of this malady. Get this. This spiritual malady is literally driving my life. It shows up consciously with selfishness and self-centeredness, but unconsciously, at a deeper level, it's driving me through four horsemen. Fear, self-delusion, self-pity, self-seeking. Are you with me? Are we good so far? Setting up this deal? All right. Page 58, and this is the last thing I'm talking about as far as bouncing around the book. Page 58 and 59. I was asked a question this week, and, I think it's a good question. Hey, Pat, and I've heard this question over the years. Hey, you know what? I'm not down with the God idea. Can I just do this stuff without God? And it's a little bit like trying to drive a car without gas. You could get in, you could wax it up, you can make it shiny as all heck, you could buff up the trim, you can make sure the leather is all just so perfect. Even the windshields are clean. But if you don't have combustion in the engine, if you don't have gas in the tank, you're not going anywhere. And that's what it is to do the 12 steps without God. Oh, I could set up some principles, but I can't get anywhere. And so at the bottom of page 58, it sums up what we're up against. It says, remember, Pat, that you are dealing with cocaine. You're dealing with alcohol. This disease, this affliction, this malady, it is cunning, Pat. It's baffling, and it's powerful. It's too much for you. There's only one, capital O in one. That means God. There's only one that has all the power. Pat, you got to find him now. You got to go with everything you got. You got to go for God. Half measures are not going to help you. You're going to stand at a turning point, Pat. And by the way, we have a lot of turning points in our life. But I'm going to choose a path that I've never been on. I'm going to choose to go with God where I've never gone before in this. It says, I'm going to ask for God's protection and care with complete abandon. All right? So this malady is out to destroy me. And we got a war that we've entered into, whether we know it or not. God of our understanding, whatever that is, wherever we start, which by the way is perfect, your God of your understanding as you start this spiritual pilgrimage is perfect. Because God is going to reveal more and more and more and more who he is. And I'll talk about that in my own experience here in a little bit. But this God of our understanding is going to take us to a place that's going to free us from what has been killing me for my entire life. See, here's a weird thing. See if you could hear this. When I got in here and I got sober, for the first 3 months, I thought what I needed to do was just hang out in the rooms and I could just catch what you guys caught. I couldn't work. I didn't have a job. Everybody, I was alone. Snakes were crawling out of my arms. I have delusions. I can't speak. I can't complete a sentence. I'm a mess. All right. So I'm going to 3 meetings a day. And I did that for a year because I was unemployed. And the bottom line was, when I got sober, I thought, oh my gosh, I can't even believe this is happening. I have been sober now for 30 days. That is a bloody miracle. It's a big deal, guys. And guess what? My emotions and my spirit and my mind are crazier now, sober, than I was when I was out drinking. Did any of you guys ever experience that? Like you thought, hey, if I could just get away from the drugs, if I could just get away from the alcohol, it's all going to get good. It's going to get good really fast. Man, finally, I got my solution. I got rid of that drug. I got rid of that alcohol. That's got to be it. And I'm scared to death inside because I'm feeling what's happening and I'm falling, guys. I am falling quickly, and I know that I'm on borrowed time because I'm getting more suicidal. I'm getting more homicidal. I'm getting more isolating, and I don't know what's wrong with me. All I think about is, wait a minute. I got away from the drink. I'm sober. It's got to be getting good. What is going on? And finally, fortunately, there's one guy in the meeting at my home group in Denver, in Colorado, and this guy was getting better. And he was a low bottom drunk like me. But Aaron's life was changing, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. He started talking about the 3 parts of the disease. He started talking about the insanity in step 2, and that it had to be dealt with, and it had to be a spiritual solution. And he's talking about this stuff of selfish self-centeredness and the trouble we think is of our own making. And he's talking about this inventory thing, and he's talking about these bedevilments. I don't know what he's talking about. And he's saying these bedevilments, something's driving me and I can't control it. And these bedevilments are showing up in my life. And I've got trouble with relationships. I got trouble with my emotional nature. I'm prey to misery. And he's speaking a foreign language to me. I go, Aaron, who's sponsoring you? Whoever it is I want. He goes, you're not going to have him. If I tell you who my sponsor is, you're going to dominate his time and I won't have any time for him. So good luck. So much for the Fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous. But I keep searching for the guy, and I find Bill T. Bill T's a probation officer. I can relate. And I come up to Bill and I say, listen, whatever you're doing with Aaron, it's saving his life, and I see a change. And whatever I'm doing is killing my life, and I see the end in sight. Can you please help me? And from the bottom of my heart, I told the guy the truth. And the guy said an incredible, beautiful thing that saved my life. He said, get over here. I'll see you at 7 a.m. And he took me on a journey. Now, earlier I told you when I first started out this conversation that I wasn't down with God. I'd given up on God. Anybody in here ever given up on God? See, I had so many bad experiences with what I thought was God early on in my life. I had so many bad experiences with my immediate family. I had so many bad experiences with my mom. Through her drug use and alcoholism, lost my baby sister. She died. And mom and dad didn't have any money, and they spent every penny they had trying to keep Kelly, my baby sister, alive for 11 months in the hospital, and she still died. They had to sell their house. They had to move to a different neighborhood and all the rest, and they're starting over from scratch. Dad was a pharmacist, had to sell out a bunch of stuff. They're a mess financially. And guess who shows up on the doorstep 12 months later? The parish priest. And he says, you haven't been to church for quite a while, and you're behind on your tithe. That was the church that I thought was going on. My mom swore off God. At that moment, mom swore off God. Dad swore off God. I grew up in a godless home. I get abused by a guy that's in the ministry, sexually abused. Doesn't make sense to me. Where's God in that kind of stuff? Where's God saving my baby sister? Where's God in all this stuff going on in my house? Where's God with my mom? She doesn't even get out of bed anymore. She sleeps the day long. She chain smokes. When she's sober, she's a mess. She's better off when she's not. My dad works 24/7, so she doesn't have to be around him. God help me. Guess what God did? I discovered alcohol at 14. It saved my life. But I'm telling you, friends, I had sworn off God. So Bill T., my sponsor, says, Pat, the solution is God. I said, thank you, but no thank you. I just about crapped when I saw on the steps, because I hadn't bothered to read the steps. In step 3, it says, you turn your life over to God. And I go, you got to be kidding me. Are you telling me that this entire program, these 12 steps is all about me having a relationship with God? Bill T., come on. You got to give me something else. There's got to be something else besides God. He said, Pat, there's not. And he did a beautiful thing. He didn't try to convince me to believe in God. Just like Ebby didn't try to convince Bill. He didn't try to change my belief. He didn't try to give me 7 ways to a new relationship with God or anything else. He just simply said, listen, can you suspend judgment for just a second? Because we're going to go find out your truth in step 1. And he lovingly took me through the book, page by page, turning one page at a time, and we did considerations out of statements. And he said, Pat, we're going to read this book like it was intended to be read. It's a textbook. It's intended to be studied, and it's intended to be experienced. Let's find out, Pat, if when you drank like Bill. When you feel, did you feel like Bill? And most importantly, Pat, as these pages start turning into chapters that turn into half of the book, that turn into the 164 pages, are you willing to consider that this program can work for you too? And that's how Bill started me. And I said yes to each one of those. And so I start reading my step 1. And the interesting thing is that God, who has already declared war on my selfish self-centeredness, which is the root of my bedevilments, which is the reason I'm having trouble in relationships, which is the reason I'm not emotionally stable, which is the reason I view the world as a terrible place, misery and depression. It is the reason I don't feel useful to anybody. I have no purpose. It's the reason I'm full of fear and I run from you and I'll never let you get close to me. And I start discovering that this spiritual malady is being dismantled step by step by step. I see that the obsession, what it's doing to me, and that I'm no match for it. I see the allergy that once I start, I can't stop. And I see that underneath all of this stuff in my step 1 experience is that I have a spiritual malady which is driving the whole train. On page 64 of the big book, it says, only, I'm putting the word only in there, but only when the spiritual malady is overcome do I straighten out mentally and physically. I don't straighten out any other way. So I get to the truth of my step 1 experience, and I start seeing this disease start to be dismantled, because in the middle of the first 43 pages, plus the doctor's opinion, and plus 3 pages in We Agnostics, that half of the instructions in the big book on my step 1 experience start to give me some light and start to give me some hope. In the midst of my powerlessness, in my midst of no control, in my midst of no choice. It starts saying crazy things like this on page 28. When I am desperate and I'm at the end of my rope, I stretch out my hand in the darkness because I don't even know where to go. And a loving and powerful hand of God grabs hold of me. And on page 25, it says, Pat, there's going to be a great fact that's going to happen in your life. This great fact is that your attitude, your thinking, your concepts, your beliefs, the way that you process life is going to be radically and forever altered. You're going to grasp new soil in how you process life. You are going to be reborn. And what's going to happen to you and how you relate to people, the universe, your place in it, your purpose in it is going to be indeed incredible. And the central fact is, Pat, you're going to experience God who is going to do God stuff in your life, even though you weren't even open to God. God is going to do some God stuff in your life that's literally going to change you from the ground up. And it's going to be revolutionary. And you're going to admit as time goes forward that God's pulling off miracles in your life that you can't even believe. See, here's the crazy thing. I was swearing off God, and God was only coming closer to tell. Every time I swore him off, he said this, I love you. God, I hate you. You were never there for me. You abandoned me. Pat, I love you. I will never abandon you. I will never leave you. I will always protect you. I will always care for you. I am not limited by time, and I'm not limited by space, and I'm not limited by power. I have it all. And I will become your father. I will become your director and guider. I will guide you. Guider, that's a good word. I will guide you. I will be your principal. You get to represent me. You're going to be my intelligent agent. You're going to be my spearhead of my ever-advancing creation. I'm God of the universe, and I'm not content unless you join me on a daily basis, Pat, to enjoy my creation in your life, in your family's life, in your work life, in your financial life, in your relationship life, every part of your life. I'm going to be part of your life. And we are going to create, baby, and it's going to be outstanding. It's going to be amazing. You're going to high-five me, and you're going to go, man, God, you are something else. And God's going to say, yes, I am, and I love you too. And I start to wake up to God who's never been against me. You know who's been against me my whole life? People. Myself. Who's the voice in the morning that I wake up to saying, you'll never be good enough, Pat? You'll always be alone. You're not lovable. See, in the fourth step, I start experiencing relief and release from a prison of torture that the malady is content to give me for the rest of my life. And that torture is in my self-defeating beliefs. My torture on these self-defeating principles that I live by that are killing me that I can't let loose of. See, here's the thing. This is a scary, cunning thing about our disease. It is very content to let me get sober. What? Yep. This disease is incredibly content to let me get clean. Just don't desire anything more, Pat. Just don't drink. Just don't use. That's all this program offers you. Don't desire anything more, Pat. Because if I start desiring more, the spiritual malady starts getting on shaky territory. The spiritual malady starts to crumble. Because God, folks, never loses. God loves us too much to ever leave us in the prison we put ourselves in. We were never designed to live in a foreign country called our spiritual malady. We were always designed to live in the loving and powerful arms of God. And he says, I love you enough to let you for a lifetime discover who I am. And I'm patient, and I'm kind, and I'm compassionate. And your journey to coming awake with who I am and how much I love you, I'm patient. And I'll keep nudging you, and I'll keep guiding you. And you will, Pat, grow in understanding and effectiveness with me. Step 10. Pat, I'm going to teach you what it looks like to talk with me. We call it prayer. But all I want to do is hang out with you. Talk to me all day long. Let's discuss things. Let's have a joke or two. Let's talk about the things that are still troubling and scaring you to death. I'm big enough. I can handle it. And here's what starts to happen in my step 11 experience. When I get agitated and doubtful about the spirituality starting to play games with me, it's in fear. I got some fear going on. I got some dishonesty going on. I got some selfishness going on. And I go, God, I'm selfish, I'm dishonest, and I'm in fear. Pat, I know that. I designed you. You're my masterpiece. I know you got some stuff going on. Talk to me about it. Well, God, what about this job? If I tell the truth to my boss and I do what I think you're telling me to do, he's going to kick me to the curb. I'm going to lose my job. How am I going to support my family? How about you let me take care of that? How about you just do what I ask you to do? Thy will be done. I'll give you the power to do it. And by the way, I am a protector, and I do guard you, and I will care for you. You're always going to have your needs met. Pat, have you forgotten your third step promises? I helped Bill write those. You don't have to be afraid of today. You don't have to be afraid of tomorrow. You don't have to be afraid of the hereafter. I've got you. And see, all these principles we learn, all these pages we learn in this big book, we start experiencing them as we take action. In my 11th step, I say, God, help me. I need inspiration. That's another fancy way of saying I am suffocating to death in my mind. And if you don't give me inspiration here, I am sunk. And what does God do? He gives me inspiration. God, I have no clue how to think my way out of this thing. My God of reason, which killed me all those years, the spiritual malady loves the God of reason. The spiritual malady wants me to forever put the God of reason up on the mantle as that's my God. Hey, I could trust my mind. It'll get me out of this jam. It'll get me out of this mess. I'm just going to trust my willpower. It's going to succeed. And it never does. And the malady keeps telling me, lie, 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 lies. And it's never out for my best. It's always against me. And so I start to have these intuitive thoughts that God gives me with understanding and knowledge and inspiration. And I start being able to see things in people that I'm talking to. Like when I'm sponsoring, I go, God, I don't know how to handle this with this sponsee. I don't even know what's going on here. Would you give me insight? And I find myself praying for the guy. And guess what God does? Hey, Pat, ask about this the next time you're talking to him. Really? That? Yeah. Trust me. God, I do, man. Every time I trust you, good things happen. When I don't trust you, bad things happen. It's pretty basic. Wax on, wax off. Wax on, wax off. Okay? I'm pretty basic. I'm not the most intelligent guy in the world. I got to trust God. All right? And when I asked the sponsee about whatever God told me to ask, he goes, how in the world did you know that? And I go, I don't know. That's a God thing. God's doing God stuff. More importantly, God brought it up because he wants to free you. What's going on here? And so I got sponsees that don't believe in God. I got sponsees that are starting to believe in God. I got sponsees that are turning their will and their lives over to the care of God. I got sponsees that are going crazy in love with God. And it's always the same process. God does God stuff, and he says, listen, Pat, let them come. It's an invitation. Let them come and see. It's an invitation to watch your life. Then ask them, what are they seeking? What are they seeking? Pat, what are you seeking? What do you want from me? Well, God, all truth in, I need you to be what you were to Bill. I need you to be my newfound friend. I need to know, God, that you're not against me, that you're for me, because all my life I've been smacked up against the head, and I'm thinking that you've been the one nailing me. That's not me, Pat. That's the malady. And I'm here to set you free. And then he says an interesting thing to us through this step work, through step 3, step 4, step 5, step 6. And we'll talk about step 7 in a second. Pat, go all in with me. You're at the turning point. Give me everything that you think you know about yourself to everything that you think you know about me, and it'll be enough. I love you. It'll be perfect. Go with me. And then he invites me to come and follow through these steps. And I get to the step 4, and I'm going to talk about this for a little bit. because where he's going to end up is a page 25 kind of experience. It's going to be amazing, miraculous what God does in and through me, in and through you. We get to be an intelligent agent, a spearhead of God's ever-advancing creation, and it's incredible. It's incredible, the life we have today. It's purposeful. You have a purpose that no one else can do. You guys can reach addicts and alcoholics like no other non-addict alcoholic can ever do. You could go into the dungeon of terror because you got the keys. You got the keys to let these guys out. It's amazing. God does stuff in our lives that we can't even believe. And so he starts to unpack and dismantle this malady, this malicious, cancer-eating, flesh-eating, soul-eating malady. By the way, the Oxford group used to call these whole step work soul surgery. Isn't it true? God's doing soul surgery on us. And in step 4, he says, you know what? You got some self-defeating beliefs. We call it principles. People, institutions, principles, right? In the step 4 experience, we start fact-finding and fact-facing. We start looking at what's destructive in our life, what is unsaleable, what is broken, what is damaged, what doesn't work. And I start to find out that there's a lot of things that I'm believing that aren't working. Like, how's my self-defeating belief of I'm not good enough working for me, Pat? How about my self-defeating belief of I'll never be loved? I'm unlovable. I'm despicable. How's that self-defeating belief working for me every day? How about if I don't have a relationship, I'm never going to be whole? How's that belief working for me? I could go 100, 200 deep in self-defeating beliefs that God starts to free us from. And I write them out on paper. I see where it's a lie. I go through this inventory process in step 4, and I get to the truth in step 5 with my sponsor, and he says, Pat, what do you find objectionable about this whole thing? Do you see that you have no power to get yourself out of this dungeon of self-imposed terror? Is there anything that you want to cling to? Like, do you want to cling to lying behavior? Do you want to cling to avoidance behavior? Do you want to cling to procrastination? Do you want to cling to anger management? You get intense with everybody else to scare them off? Or do you want to turn over to me? Are you willing to turn to me in everything from now on? I'm either going to be everything for you, Pat, or I'm nothing. Why don't you go all in? Put all your chips in the center of the table. Roll everything in Pat's life on red 9, whatever color you want. I don't care. God says, whatever you put out there, I've got it. I'll never, ever drop you. And then in step 6, I honestly get to a place where I'm willing to finally say, Uncle, I can't pull this thing off. And the spiritual malady is viciously, it's so angry. Because now it's dying a major death because I'm not depending on self anymore. I'm not depending on my self-knowledge. I'm not depending on self-reliance. I'm not depending on fear to keep me sober or clean. I'm not depending on you to keep me sober or clean. I'm not depending on my self-defeating beliefs to manage my life anymore. And I'm willing to give them all up. Oh, gosh, the spiritual malady's dying. And we go into this step 7 experience. God, everything's on you. God, I'm all in, man. If you drop me, I'm dropped forever in the universe. But if you don't drop me, my life will never be the same. And God, I can't go back. I got to go forward. I can't go back to where it was. I got to go all in for you. And God, either do some God stuff here or I'm dead. I'm doing it. And I say this 7-step prayer. Beautiful prayer. God, everything, good and bad, I give it to you. God, do stuff into my life. Grant me strength as I go out here from doing your will. I'm in. And they take us over to step 8 and 9 experience. And for the first time in my life, I have a genuine concern for another human being. And I don't want to treat him the way I treated him. I'm willing, with courage, God-given, to go make it right with that person. And an amazing thing happens. God speaks into the situation before I get there. God speaks into the heart of the person I'm talking to before I get there. God speaks through me. God speaks through the person, and relationship is restored. That's a miracle of God, and the spiritual malady is going, Not again. He's forming vital relationships with people. Oh, geez, he's getting out of the emotional troubles. He's getting out of this problems with personal relationships. Oh, geez. Well, there's that one amends. If I could just keep him from making that one amends, because I know I'm going to double down on fear. Pat won't do it. He's too afraid. There's no way. He'll go to jail if he answers that one. Oh, no way. And I'm praying with my papa. Oh, God, give me strength to do this. I'm too scared to do this amends. God, will you please give me the willingness to be willing to do this amends? And guess what God does? Pat, it's yours. I'm in you now. You invited me into your heart in step 3. I'm here. I'm cooking, man. I'm redesigning the bedroom, the living room, the kitchen. I live here now, buddy. I'm you. I'm in you. And the more you trust me, the more you're going to give off the signals of God power in your life. The more you trust me, you're going to give off the gift of love and joy and peace and freedom to everybody you touch. And I make that amends that I couldn't make. And I go, God, I'm free. I am free. And then every day I get to say a prayer for the rest of my life, which I've been doing for, I don't even know how many years, 15 more years out of my 23 years. My Creator, would you please show me the way of patience and tolerance and kindliness and love for Karen, my wife. Oh God, let me love her with revolutionary love. Let me love her like she's never been loved before. Let me not seek me to be understood. Let me just understand her, God, with your power. Let me love her. Oh God, let her know she's loved and she's safe and she's protected. I never had a prayer like that in my drinking days, my using. I was a mess. I was a serial cheat. I was a mess. My first sex ideal was, God, help me not sleep with married women. Help me not sleep with women that are not my wife. And God has honored that all my 23 years. See, if we're willing to grow towards our sex ideal, God says, I show up. You draw near to me, Pat, which simply means turn to me. I'll do the heavy lifting. All I need you to do is believe me a little bit more than not believing me. God's not upset with me having doubt. Of course I have doubt. I don't know. Every time I face a new area in my life, I have a little bit of doubt that God says, I'm going to squeeze it out of you. I'm going to squeeze out that doubt, Pat, because I never fail. And I go into my step 10 experience and I start saying, wait a minute, you're starting to give me a vision of a new way of living. I've entered this spiritual world. You're giving me a new way of living, a new vision. Oh my gosh, God, I want this. You have put me with purpose. Sorry. I am here for what's my time? Sorry. Am I up? Tell me, somebody say hello to me.
The timer up for you, Pat. Sorry.
How am I done?
No, 7 minutes.
Oh, 7 minutes. Oh, thank you guys. I love you guys. So I go into this, thank you for telling me. I get lost. So I go into this 10-step experience and I have a vision, guys. It's not my vision. You know what my vision was all my life? I'm going to show people that I'm important. I'm going to show people that I am powerful. It's Bill's story. The drive for success was on. I'd show the world I'm important. And every time I tried to show the world I was important, I got it smacked in my face. I get the success I think I needed, and it was never enough. And God says, Pat, are you open to a new vision? I go, yeah, Papa, what do you got? I said, how about I use your life with me and we go help hopeless drunks. We set them free from the prison. And Pat, I'll let you even put the key into the gate and you could spring it open. And we are going to take that tortured soul right on out of there. Are you down for that? Oh, yeah. God, that sounds good stuff. That's good stuff. Hey, Pat, how about I use you in your employment to be a father to these people that you work with that have never had a father? and you guide and you protect and you love them. You're not codependent. You're not trying to be all things to all man. You're just going to respond to what I tell you to do. You're going to pray with me daily for this vision to have legs and feet, arms and hands. I'm going to pray on a daily basis for the knowledge of God's will and the power to carry it out. God, you've called me to go here, and you know I can't love that person the way you want me to love that person. So if you don't get in my heart and do some love stuff, this is not going to be pretty. And God does some love stuff through me. And I do some 10-step on the road, man. I talk to I talk to Tamara, I talk to Tyler, I talk to Sean B, I talk to a bunch of people on this. There's a ton of people. I'm leaving a ton of people out. But I do an active 10-step because I don't want stuff blocking me up. I want a pure funnel of power of God coming through me. I don't want anything blocking it up. God. There it is again. I got some dishonesty going on. I exaggerated. God, I can't even believe I did that. Oh, there's some selfishness. You know what? I'm not thinking about that person. I'm just thinking about my time, my way, my money, blah, 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 blah. And it's getting in the way. I could feel my spirit shutting down. And he says, what do you want to do about it? He says, I'm coming to you. I'm asking you right now. Please remove it. Hey, I better, you know what? I'm a little bit confused about this deal. I'm going to get on the phone with Shawnee Boy. Hey, Shawnee Boy, here's what's going on in my life. What do you think? And I get some insight by all of you. And then God uses you to help me. Sometimes I don't need it. Sometimes I just go directly to God, and I don't have to go anywhere else. And then God says, hey, do we owe an amends to this person? Do you owe an amends? And I go, yeah, I was a little short. Yep, absolutely. Oh, I'll do that tomorrow. No. You're going to do it right now, Pat. Well, what about tomorrow? I mean, I'm sort of got things going. Pat, whose time is it now? Is it yours or mine? It's yours. I sort of laugh, but I mean, I get into this habit. It's God. It's God. It's God. 11th step. What do I do? This spiritual malady tries to insert itself every time saying, hey, don't let me die. Don't let selfish self-centeredness die. We're not that bad. We're not going to try to kill you again. Promise. This time we're going to play nice. This time we're going to try to light it up for you. And you know what? Quit believing that God. Quit believing that God is good. Quit believing that you can know God. It's all in your head. It's not real. And it's a lie from the pit of hell. God is good. God is powerful. God is knowable. God wants intimate relationship with us, and that's what the book talks about, page 29. Hey, the whole purpose of the story is how we formed our relationship with God. We know God. We get to expose ourselves to God. God shows himself to us. And in the 11th step, in prayer and meditation, I start learning. I start reading spiritual books I start to seek out rabbis, priests, ministers, and outside spiritual literature. Yes, it's part of the program. Absolutely go with people that have already had a great successful relationship with God and you want more of what they got. Go read it. Meditate on it. Meditate in the Bible. Dr. Bob wasn't scared of the Bible. He had it on the podium where he was. Oh, we'll scare people off with the God talk. Really? Who else is going to rescue you from the dungeon of terror? And why am I scared of God in the first place? It's because God's for me. He's not against me. God loves me. He doesn't hate me. God wants to free me. He doesn't want to keep me in prison. Oh, man. Step 12. The spiritual malady is put on the rails as soon as we start caring enough to love somebody else in service. And we take somebody through the very process that we've been set free from. We take them through this 12-step work. We show them our connection with God. We demonstrate third step witnessing to the power of God in our lives, the love of God in our lives, and this way of life with God in our life. And it becomes attractive to the suffering alcoholic and addict. Why? Because whatever you're doing, it's a heck of a lot better than what I'm doing. I'm willing to listen. That's the way it was for me and Bill T. I wanted what he had. I didn't want his probation thing, but I wanted everything else he had. You get me? Guys, I love you. And I'm going to end with this. These steps and I wrote this down, these precise God-given steps dismantle my prison cell. They unlock my heart of unbelief, and they lead me to freedom. I become a new man. I'm grasping new soil and ideas, new concepts. I am reborn, and a whole new world comes into view. I have vision and purpose, and I am fulfilled in my love relationship with God. God bless you, and I love you. Nighty night.